Hello there, fellow citizens of the internet. My name is Moses, and this is the Moses Kabandana podcast, and this is the part two of my earliest memories. This second part, there is a lot of jumbled up memories that are not necessarily in a linear fashion, right? So I remember something, and then I'm like, wait, did this happen before or did it happen after? So at the end of part one, I had just gotten done. I had just talked about the lesson that I had learned from my father, which was to never pick a gum from the floor, and eating a lot of was it catfish, fish cat. Yeah, so that was the last time. That was the part one. That's where we ended. I'm not gonna do a recap because it might end up, the episode might end up being too long, and I'm trying to keep it at about no more than 20 minutes for this particular series. So, here's where it continues. There's a blank space there from this refugee camp that we were at. And my next memory is outside of the refugee camp. My father is no longer in the picture. I have no idea what the story is between the last memory, and to this one, but he's no longer in the picture, and we are no longer in the refugee camp. We're still in Mozambique, in the state of Maputo. We are living with my mother. It's me, my mother, and my siblings, older brother, younger sister, somewhere. I don't remember where except like the name of the city. And I remember my mother. She owned this like shop thing of clothing. Because I do remember distinctively, I would come back from school, and she would be sitting under this like shop, under this like tent shop with tons of clothing around her, and people would come, and they look at the clothing, and if they liked the piece, whatever that they were looking at, they would snag it, and that's how she made a living. To the best of my memory, that is the first and only other time that I've ever actually seen my mother working. I do know that we moved to a different place. I don't know what she did there for work. And it was during this particular place where I had my very first motor vehicle accident. So I was coming from. So I'm probably, how old am I at this? I don't know, like 5 or 6. So I'm coming back from school, and I was walking slightly too close to the sidewalk, like towards like the end of the sidewalk, and my foot must have slipped or something, or I was just like too young and too dumb, and I was walking on the actual street, and the motorcycle came out of nowhere, and I just got swept off my feet. And next thing I see, there's like people surrounding me, and it just so happens that the accident was right in front of a hospital. Like, what are the odds of that? It was right in front of the hospital. I was walking towards my mom's little market setup thing, and I think she was a little bit too far to see the accident, and so the guy hit me, or the woman, I don't quite remember. Um, they hit me and they took off. They didn't really stop. If they did, I don't remember the public's interaction with them. But there were doctors right there, and ooh, I just hit the mic. Nothing was bad. Like, I wasn't really badly hurt or anything like that. It was just a couple scruffs. I have so many stories like this where like something so drastic happens, and like as far as like the consequences should be, like the physical consequences should be so bad. But nothing really ends up happening. So they patched me up a little bit, and I go on my merry way. I go to sit at my mother's tent. I would basically just watch her like do her business. And that's it. That's it. The following memory from that, I really wonder like what the lifestyle was like. Cause like how long would she sit there for? Like, I mean, our schools weren't that long. Our school hours were like 4 hours long, and then you came home and you just sat around and like, at the time, you just didn't like stay at home. You know, you just if you were a kid, you just went out playing. Um, so like I don't really I don't really know like what my mom did like aside from selling the clothing and stuff, like when we were out of school for those 4 hours. I mean, after school, like she just sold stuff for 4 hours, and then, huh? I don't. There's a huge blank space there. But anyways, well, we probably played around and just ran around and did random stuff. Probably came back when the sun was set. The sun had set. This after sundown. The next memory, I am in a completely different school, um, and I remember this because there was this dog. Oh man, for those that are watching on YouTube, like you're seeing my face. As soon as I say the dog, like my whole face changed. There was this dog. He basically, or she, I don't know. The dog basically had an appointment with me every day after school, and it wasn't a good appointment either. It was like, hey, I know you're coming back from school. I'm about to chase you down, trying to bite your ankle until you make it to your crib, to your house. So that was basically like the daily routine. I'd go to school for 4 hours and I would come back. I always knew where that dog would be hidden. It was not too far from my house. And I never knew like where exactly he would be hiding, but every single day this dog would chase me. And like these are not dogs that are like pets. No, 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 no. You only got your dog for one particular reason only, to protect the family against intruders. And I was seen as an intruder. And this dog was not what do you call them, leashed, hanked. What's hanked? And so yeah, just every day after school, I had an appointment with this dog. It's like there was no other way to get to the house, but to go past this stupid dog. So and he almost called me a few times, man. It's bad memories, and maybe maybe that's why I don't quite get along with like bigger dogs. I don't really have the fear of bigger dogs anymore, but yeah. So there was this particular house I remember specifically because one time I was also coming. There's a lot that happened in this place. One time I was coming back from playing hide and seek with my friends, and I found this plastic bag just lollygagging around about in the streets. He had some stuff buried in it, like it had some stuff in it. I just didn't care much to look into what it was. I just started kicking it because I love playing soccer. So I just kicked it all the way home. And my mom kind of got mad, like, why you bringing this into the house, whatever. So, anyways, I never really knew anything that happened, after that. But so she took it, and it wasn't years later when I learned from my older brother that this bag had money in it. So I had been kicking around money for who knows how long. And I guess the concept of money for me was still, quite foreign. So yeah, it's not like if I knew what it was, if it would make any difference at all. So, there's another thing that happened in this particular house. This is kind of bad. So for those that don't really like creepy stuff, you might want to like pause or something. But I was playing hide and seek. Like I said, I was playing hide and seek one time, and I remember jumping into a hole to hide. And right behind me, someone else jumped in too. And I turn around. It's an adult, for sure, a male adult, and he snatched me up, puts me over his shoulders, and he starts booking it. Um, why I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know if it was a weird kind of game that just like a weird hide and seek, like I'm gonna hide and I'm gonna get snatched. I don't know. This is just I wasn't conceptualizing things that well. And next thing I see is like all my friends are chasing this person that has me on their shoulders. I don't think I ever told this story to my older brother or my sister. And so my friends are starting to chase this guy that's got me, and then the whole neighborhood. And this is something that was very typical. I can't speak for the whole Africa, but specifically in Maputo, in that area, it's like if you stole, if you did something wrong, like you better make it to the police, because if the people catch you, it's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be pretty. So anyway, so the whole neighborhood is chasing this guy. He's got me on his shoulder. So I want to say I wasn't any older than like 6 or 7. Because if you can carry somebody that's like 12, well, for sure I wasn't 12, but like, you gotta be light enough to be carried over the shoulders. And this dude tried to climb a wall with me on his shoulders. Obviously got caught. I never knew, never found out whatever happened to him. I can only assume, based on some other stories, that I'll tell you in the future, what might have happened to him. Uh, well, let me just go into it. There's this one guy that got caught. I think he must have like been suspected of like witchcraft or something, or like stealing, or like maybe beating somebody up for no reason. Um, and well, for those that are squeamish, you probably want to skip this too. Um, I just remember like coming out of the stepping out of the house. Now here is where I need to clarify some things that a lot of the stories that I've been told, and a lot of things that a lot of the stories that I have experienced for myself, they kind of mingle. At some point, I kind of like have to pause and be like, wait, is this a memory of my own, or are these stories that have been told to me, at such a young age, that have become part of me. So take this with a grain of sand. Is it a grain of sand? A grain of salt? A grain of paprika? I don't know. You know what I mean. Take this with a grain of rice. Ah, um, but I stepped out of the house, and there was like a bonfire going on, and apparently this guy had been they took some tires, put around him, and they just set the tires on fire. So I'm walking out, and there's this dude being burnt, and I was just it's weird because like you don't really think too much of it or too little of it. It's just happening. Um, it must have been like a suspicion of like witchcraft or something, because otherwise the crime would not be justified if it wasn't something that bad. Um, so that's a memory that also happened in this particular house. There's a lot that happened in this house. I feel like it was at this house where we had a ghost or some sort of like a haunted house situation, because me and my older brother used to share a bed in this particular house, and once in a while I would be asleep, and I remember this particular night. It was a rainy one. It was a rainy one, and my mother must have like forgot her keys or something, her house keys. We didn't have a car, and she had locked herself out. So we are inside of the house. She had just left, must have forgot her keys, comes back, and she's knocking on the door. It's early in the morning, so she must have been leaving for work. It's early in the morning. She's knocking on the door. My brother and I are still asleep. My sister, she's way too little, and I can hear her. I can hear her clearly, although it was raining. And I'm trying to wake up. I'm trying to wake up, and like, I can't move my feet, my hands, my anything. Like I can hear everything. I can hear the rain, the knock on the door. Oh my goodness, my mom, she must have been like really, really, really like mad. Um, but so what? And my brother also like later on in the future, mentioned how he also had the same issues where he would want to wake up, and it would just feel like there was like 1,000 people just like sitting on his chest, and he just can't get up. that was just I don't know if it's like a haunted thing or what. I don't know, but it was one thing that happened more than once in that particular house. So the school that I used to go to, that this dog would attack me every time that I would come back from. I think this was first grade or second grade. And I do remember my teacher. She was this. I found her to be like really really scary because she had these like boogers on her face. Not boogers. What do you call them? Bubbly bubbly. Pimples. Yeah. So she had these like ginormous pimples, and I don't know if it was like a skin condition or something like that. I don't know, but I just remember like just being very very scared of her, and anything that she wanted, I always showed up on time, like never made any noise. I was just always like super. And she had cornrows. Karen, I can't forget that one. She had some really really long cornrows. She was nice, but oh, she would whoop all kinds of ass. If you did something wrong, she would whoop your ass left and right, and that's very normal. That's very normal in Mozambique. Probably a lot of places in Africa, if I can even say so. Uh, but so one time, because I usually walked home from school, but one time after school, I was getting ready to go home, and I typically walked alone. It was very normal to do so, and my brother would go about his own business. uh, I wish he can like create a podcast too, cause so he can tell stories on his end. He's got way crazy stories, crazier stories. But I was getting ready to go home, and a car comes up, and someone steps out, and they ask for me. And for one, I don't even remember the last time I had been in a car. And this person comes out. I don't know him. I've never seen him. And he asks me by name, and I look in the car. My older brother is already there. He's already in the car, which is completely weird because this dude, he would never sit anywhere for longer than like 20 minutes. So to see him in an enclosed space with some random person, I was like, "What is going on? What's going on? This does not really add up." So, anyways, you're little, so I got in. You don't really ask any questions, and we go, and I do remember we spent the night at the driver's house, the guy that picked us up. He was super nice, super nice guy. Yeah, super nice guy. I don't remember his name. I do remember somewhat his face. He had young features, but you could tell he's decently old. Not old, but like in his at the very earliest in his late 30s. I mean, late 30s, early 40s. And oh my goodness, here's another story that you probably don't want to hear. But because I was so young, I remember I slept in the same room, the same bed as his daughter. Now his daughter was a little bit older than I, um, and I do remember, um, you know, her and I trying to do the dirty. Like it's like every episode is gotta have some dirty, but I promise, like I still don't know what's going on. I still have no idea, like what's this even? Like I'm not even like physically reacting. If you catch my drift, and I do remember her face too. But her dad opened the door while we're trying to do the dirty, and he just like didn't like he just took it to face value, like didn't really like make out what might or might not have been going on under the blankets. But we were fully clothed and everything, so it doesn't count as anything. But it's like it's still one of my earliest memories. This is like the second time that I'm trying to do the dirty. Like what on earth? So, anyways, the next morning, we get into a car and we're driving. Mind you, I'm not asking that many questions. I don't really know what's about to unfold. Um, and we pull up to this one spot, and there's tons of cars. From my memory, right? It could have been not that many cars, but from my perspective, there was a lot of cars. There was a lot of people, and excuse me, and they were all huddled up, huddled up in this one particular space. Um, the the driver opens the door, lets my brother, my sister, and I out, and he just kind of guides us towards the congregation, where the people were congregated, and the closer that we get to this congregation, I see that there's a lot of not a lot of talking or laughing, right? It's just a lot of small hums and hymns and whatnot, and we make our way through the crowd, and there's this box. Um, I'm I'm a little bit too I'm a little bit short, and I can't really make out what they're looking at. Uh, Boy, this is a heavy one. And I get there, and there's like some cement blocks that they had put in place for the shorties like me to get on. And I climbed up, and uh, I look inside, and there's the face of my mother in there, and things are really not making sense to me. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, why are you in there? Why are you in there? Like, wake up, like, get up, like, uh, let's go home. And I just remember bawling. This is one of the times that I've definitely bawled, cry the most, for sure, absolutely for sure. And I could not contain it. It was definitely a really really sad time in my life. So yeah, yeah. I don't remember how I recovered from it. I don't remember what we did after that. Don't I yeah, I don't even remember who all was there, if there was family members or long family friends, nothing. There's a huge dark, basically cloud in the memory, from here on out until the first orphanage that we went to. So I'm gonna end my earliest memories part two here. Um, yeah, no positive note on this one. This was a heavy one. Every time I revisit this one, it's definitely a heavy one. But these are stories that are worth telling, right? These are stories. Everyone has a story, and revisiting your stories, uh, not only does it not only does it validate your story, it makes it even more real, right? Because every time you revisit your stories, you have those memories, those emotions come back, and I don't know. I don't know what the research shows, but I wonder if it does something, if it improves some sort of your neuroplasticity or not. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up at this point, but yeah, yeah. So I will end the episode here, and I will catch you in part three at some point. I think I'm gonna do another episode. I'm gonna try and bring a friend between this episode and part three. But yeah, I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, peace.